I'd like to share my story tonight, basically how I got to this point in my life. So we're going to go back to the 1960s. When I graduated from high school, I had a full ride football scholarship to college. Had everything going for me. And after a few bad decisions on my part, I ended up in Vietnam in 1968. That was a game changer in my life. When I got home, I thought everybody was different. And it took me a long time to figure out that I was the one that was different. I didn't trust anybody. I was hard to get along with, short-tempered. And eventually it caused me to get sick, stomach problems, relational problems. It started to wear on me. Actually went to the doctors and he put me on some medication to calm me down. And one day on my way to Cleveland to work, I had to pull off the road. I didn't know where I was going, where I came from. I'd kind of lost focus on where I was at in the vehicle. I finally made my way home after that, and I told my wife, I said, look, I can't go on like this. I need to get straightened out and get off of this medication. Well, my wife and my sister stuck their neck out and preached the word to me one night, which I didn't want to hear it up until then, but they did. They told me what I needed to do, and I sat there and I listened. And I went outside. I lived out in the country. I actually had a fire going outside in the woods. And I said, Lord, I don't know what these two have or exactly what they were talking about, but I need that kind of peace in my life. So whatever you need to do or whatever I need to do to get to that point, here I am. Well, nothing happened real quick. I didn't feel any different. But over the next few days, things start to look a little brighter. My outlook on myself and other people started to change. And I was asked to go to a healing service, which I'd never been to. On the way to the service, there was a couple people with me, and they said, exactly what's your problem? What is it that you're concerned about? I said, I'm so upset and nervous that I can't get a deep breath. It's like there's a brick inside my chest. I can't get calmed down. So having said that, we went to the service, and I was all eyes and ears. And there was a quiet time of praise and worship, and then it got real quiet. And a gentleman or a lady stood up. I can't really remember which one it was. But they turned around and they said, there's a gentleman in this audience tonight that feels like he has a brick in his chest. He can't settle down. Well, that did it for me. I walked up and I was prayed for. And there again, I didn't feel anything differently. I didn't fall down. I didn't do anything differently. I walked back to my seat. And over the next few days, again, I started to feel better. Well, that got me into church. That was a game changer because I was starting to see straight, think straight, appreciate life a little more concerned about my family than myself. And as I started to go along, I started to read the Bible, and it dawned on me that God was smarter than me. Men tend to think that they have all the answers, and they tend to put their own beliefs in God's system. That doesn't work. I went that route for a while. But it all comes down to this. In Matthew, the book of Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew, for me anyway, it talks about a road that's wide and well-traveled, a gate that leads to death and destruction. That's where I was heading. And then it goes on to talk about a gate, a road that's narrow. Few are those who find it, and it leads to life. I was one of those guys that when I started to read the Bible, I believed the whole thing. It didn't happen overnight, but I started to believe the Bible from cover to cover and found out that any problems I had or any issues in life, there was answers to it there. I'm 67 years old, In the book of Joshua, in chapter 14, Caleb makes the statement that he's 85 years old now, and he's as strong and capable as he was when he was 45. That's my scripture. I stand on that. I get up in the morning and I thank the Lord that I'm healthy and I'm strong and capable at 67 years old. And I plan on living like that and speaking that every day of my life till I leave this earth. Now, along with this narrow road that I found that leads to life, it led me to this church, The Rock. How that happened was I heard from a couple people out in the neighborhood that there was a couple guys here that put their money where their mouth was and started a church. And I heard some things that they had done, actually helping a couple members in my family, extended family. So I came to church here one day, and everything in my life started to work out. I started to give here. I started to worship here. Went to some men's meetings. I have no problems. Everything in my life is working well. If I wasn't me, I'd want to be me. That's how well things are going for me in this world. But it's a choice. You have to make a choice. Everything's a choice. And just let me leave you with this thought. If every snowflake that's ever fell on the face of this earth since the beginning of time represented 1,000,000 years, that amount of millions of years, you would only be at the doorstep of eternity. So think about it. It's your choice. Where do you want to spend that time? Thank you.